I couldn't sleep last night. I kept thinking about something that happened at my local coffee shop, something that completely changed how I see reality. I was standing in line when this woman walked in. Let's call her Sarah. The moment she walked through that door, I knew something was off. Her shoulders were slumped. She kept checking her phone, and she had that look, you know the one, where your whole world just fell apart. Later that day, I found out why. Sarah had just given the worst presentation of her life. But what happened next blew my mind, and it's going to change how you see everything. But before I tell you what happened to Sarah, grab your phone and do something for me. Open your camera, point it at anything, and zoom in as close as you can. See how the image gets blurry? That's exactly what your brain is doing right now with your entire life. And I can prove it. See, I spent the last 3 months talking to neuroscientists about something they discovered. Dr. Marcus from Stanford told me something that kept me up for days. Your brain isn't showing you reality. It's showing you what it thinks will keep you alive. And this isn't some theory. They put people in MRI machines and watched their brains literally create different realities based on what they believed. But here's where it gets crazy. Remember Sarah? While everyone else in that coffee shop was wrapped up in their own world, the barista was texting her boyfriend, some guy was fighting with his AirPods. Sarah's brain was creating an entire reality where everyone was judging her. And I bet your brain is doing the exact same thing right now. Let me show you something wild. 3 months ago, I ran into Sarah again. She looked like a completely different person. Same coffee shop, same people, but this time she walked in like she owned the place. What changed? Not the coffee shop, not the people, just one thing in her brain. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to make that same change. Look, I used to think all this brain stuff was just fancy science talk. Then I lost my job in 2021. For 6 straight months, I saw nothing but rejection. Every email, every interview, nothing but thanks but no thanks. Then I met Dr. Thompson at Stanford. She showed me something that changed everything. Your brain processes 11 million pieces of information every second. But you know how many you actually notice? 40, that's it, 40 out of 11 million. So what happens to the rest? Your brain fills in the gaps with what it expects to see. Like those Instagram filters everyone uses, except this filter is created by your past experiences, your beliefs, and especially your fears. Here's what's crazy. They actually proved this. Harvard took a bunch of hotel cleaners, people who basically exercise all day long at work. Half of them were told their work counted as exercise. The other half weren't told anything. 1 month later, the group that believed they were exercising lost weight and lowered their blood pressure. Same exact job, same exact movement. Different belief, different physical reality. Remember Sarah? When she bombed that presentation, her brain created a filter that made her see judgment everywhere. The guy checking his phone must be laughing at her. The barista's neutral face must be thinking she's a failure. But 3 months later, after what I'm about to show you, that same neutral face looked like a friendly smile to her. Get something to write with. I'm going to show you the exact 3 steps that changed everything for Sarah and for me. Write down 3 things that keep happening in your life that you hate. Maybe you always end up with toxic friends. Maybe you never get the promotion. Whatever it is, write it down. Now here's the part that's going to sting. Under each one, write down what you secretly believe about yourself that might be creating that reality. When I did this, I wrote, I keep getting rejected for jobs because deep down I don't believe I'm good enough. Every time you catch yourself living out that old belief, I want you to physically snap your fingers. Sounds stupid, right? But here's why it works. Remember those 11 million pieces of information? When you snap, you're forcing your brain to notice something new. You're literally interrupting your brain's reality creation process. This is where it gets good. Instead of trying to be positive, we're going to do something different. We're going to collect evidence. Every night, write down 3 things that disprove your old belief. They can be tiny. Maybe someone smiled at your joke. Maybe you solved a problem at work. Doesn't matter how small, your brain counts it all as evidence. Here's where most people mess up. They try to change their thoughts. But thoughts are just the surface. We're going deeper. We're changing the actual filter your brain uses to create reality. Look at this text I got from Sarah last week. After doing these steps for 2 months, she didn't just nail her next presentation, she got promoted. Same skills, same company, different reality filter. But let me be real with you, this isn't some magic fix. Your bills won't pay themselves. Your toxic ex won't suddenly become a saint. But what will happen is even better. You'll start seeing opportunities you were literally blind to before. You'll notice people trying to help you instead of just the ones trying to hurt you. You'll spot solutions instead of just problems. Look at these rejection emails I kept. Now I see they were actually redirecting me to what I do now. But back then, my brain's filter only let me see failure. Here's what I want you to do right now. Take out your phone, open your photos, find a picture from a time you felt like a failure. Now look at it again with what you know about your brain's reality filter. What opportunities did you miss because of what you believed? What could you see differently now? Your brain is going to create a reality either way. It's doing it right now. The only question is, are you going to let your old fears create it, or are you ready to take control? Drop a comment with "I'm ready" if you want to break down more mind-blowing psychology that actually matters in real life. Would you like me to adjust anything about the flow or content of this plain text version?